Hi everybody, my name is Chris Michalowski, Director of Tennis at the Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. Hopefully here to show you how we can take your tennis game to the next level. Today we're going to talk about video analysis, which isn't a new technology, but with this video up here in a company called Coach's Eye, we're able to take a video of you on court, make some special graphics and annotations on the video so you can understand what we're talking about a little bit more, talk over the video, and then send it to your email. So when you get home, you can watch your lesson. Now, why is this important? Well, because sometimes when you're taking a lesson, your coach may be saying, hey, we want you to do this, or we want you to take your racket back like this, and it feels like you're doing it, but the coach keeps saying that you're not doing it. And sometimes that can get a little bit frustrating. But when you have a video, you can actually see it. And sometimes it's very helpful. So through this video analysis, we can show you, point it out, talk to you about it, and then you can see it. And hopefully that will help your game improve a little bit faster. Now the great thing about this is about a month down the road, you can actually videotape yourself again in a lesson and say, have I improved? And we can look at the first one, look at the second one, and hopefully you've improved. So this is a great way to accelerate the learning process so your game improves and gets to the next level a little bit faster. So take a look at the video up here in the upper right hand corner of your screen. If you have any questions, you can call us at the Grand Traverse Resort and Spa Health Club desk at 534-6770. Thanks, and we look forward to seeing you out on the court and bringing your game to the next level.
Okay, we're going to take a look at how this works with a student here, showing some ground strokes, some volleys, and I think some serves. And the thing to remember here, we're going to go over a few things, maybe some band-aid solutions, which might be some quick fixes, and then maybe some more long-term solutions or developmental solutions, which may take a little bit more time. Now, we may talk a lot about some things in this video, and the key thing here is going to be able to maybe tackle one of these things at a time, or maybe pick which one is most important. But we can keep this video. I'll send it to you on an email. You can keep it filed away, and then we can go back and look at them and see if we are improving. So we're going to start by looking at this student's forehand here. And you see, if you look at it here, she's got a pretty, I shouldn't say big backswing because there's nothing wrong with it being big, but it matters about how it comes back when she takes it back like that. A lot of players take the racket back like that. That's not a big deal, but we'll talk about that a little bit, where that racket may be coming back a little bit, and we'll show you that in the next segment here. But let's take a look at her loading and how she finishes here. If you look at, she really doesn't have a real big load on those legs. She's got an open stance, so she should be loading a lot more because she's in position with that right foot, and she's not able to do that. So she's forced to swing with her arm a little bit more. And if you look at there, her arm really never finishes anyway. So number one, we want to make sure that she's loading more with that leg right there, and those knees are bending. And then number two, we want to make sure that that finish is coming up and over a little bit more, because if she can do that and bring that racket maybe up a little bit higher and over, or just her arm up, that's going to allow her racket to accelerate more during contact. And especially if she's trying to hit with topspin, that's a good thing. All right, if we look at this from behind, an important thing here is we want to draw this line right here. Now, when you take your racket back, it doesn't matter if you take the racket straight back or if you loop it or do whatever. What matters is that when we draw this line again, that the racket stays over here on this side of the body. All right, so we want to make sure it stays over there. If the racket comes over, let's say over on this side of the body over here, that's bad, because now when she swings, it's going to come around in a circular motion. And what we really want is that racket to move through more in a linear motion. Top players, that's one common denominator you see, even like in a Del Potro who's got a huge backswing, it stays over there. And if you watch her backswing here, now we draw this line, it's over here way too much. So you look at the racket over here. So now that racket's going to have to come around in a circle to hit it, and it's going to make her hitting zone where she can hit the ball effectively is going to make that a lot smaller. And if we go ahead and go through with the stroke here, again, that racket might be a little bit higher in there, but you can see that she still needs to bring that up a little bit. Now, if you look at the corrections here, we do this with the ball machine, by the way, so I can stay over here with the student. All right, you can't really tell where that racket is over there, but you can see that she is loading a lot better with that leg, which is good. All that energy has to start from the ground. It's very important. And it's got to come from the ground all the way up through the body, out the racket. Now, when she finishes here, let's take a look. All right, that's up a little bit higher. That's better. All right, and that's going to allow her racket through this part of the stroke here, which we call the hitting zone right in here, to move around or to keep moving through at the same rate and not slow down. Now, if we look at from the back side here, this is going to be important. Let's see where the racket is now. That's much better. You can see where the racket now is staying over on this side of the body over here, which is really good. And it's going to be able to go through more linear like that. So that's a good thing. And bingo. And finish wise, that's much better. You can see where the elbow is up, the racket is up, and she's able to bring that racket around in one motion. Otherwise, she ends up stopping the racket early, which means she's slowing down during contact. All right, now if we look at, I believe, the backhand next, all right, you can see right here when she hits, her stroke is done, but her knees are still bent right there. All right, and that's forcing her, actually in this situation here, to be a little bit more off balance too. We want those shoulders to be a little bit more level. And so she's doing what I call, she's a little bit army. She's using her arms to try to control the ball, but she's also using her arms to produce power. And power and control do not go together very well. So she's got to make sure, and then on a recovery there, all right, it's a little bit slower. Now, if you look on the next one here, you'll see A, where she has a good unit turn there. That's very good. She's a lot more balanced already, which is great with those shoulders. And if you look here, she comes up and she does what I call a break step, where that foot right there comes around. I wish it was maybe a little bit more over here, more parallel and squared up, but not too bad. And that just allows her shoulders right here to rotate all the way through. And then she should be recovering back to the middle, which she is. All right, now we're going to look at the volleys next. Let's start with the forehand volley here. All right, great ready position. Arms are relaxed out in front. Racket's up a little bit higher. That's great. But as you can see, the racket is the only thing here that comes back. These shoulders here aren't turning with the racket. That should be more of a unit turn, what we call that in tennis. And she should be making contact with the ball out here to the side. And let's see where she makes the contact here. It's not too bad, but with that right there, her shoulders are wide open. It's out in front of her a little bit. And as she finishes, big wrapping finish. So that racket's coming from here all the way around in a volley. That's pretty tough when you got a ball coming at you pretty quick and you don't have a lot of time to react to that. Now you can see on the correction here, hopefully, we'll do it in slow motion first here, where she stops the racket. And if I go back and we look at that again, all right, she could still probably use a little bit more turn. That's better. And then the racket, you can see, stops more. It stops right there. It doesn't come all the way around like it did before, which again is going to help her in recovery at the net. You've got to recover. There's three parts of that stroke, and recovery is extremely important, especially at the net, to get you ready for the next shot. Now, if we look at her backhand volley here, I believe is next in slow-mo. All right, you can see where, yeah, she's a little off balance, number one. All right, that's too bad, but you can see where the racket is really cutting across from, again, left to right as she hits. And balance-wise, like we said, not too bad. If we look at where that contact point was there, it's hard to see from here. All right, it's a little too far out in front of me if you ask me. On the back end, it's got to be more out here to the side as well with that continental grip. On the forehand, for example, if you had an Eastern grip, it could be in front of you, but with continental grip, it's got to come back. Now, I think we see this from the back side as well. And you'll see here where contact is way too close to the body. I mean, I should be able to see her arm extending out to hit that ball a little bit. And then from there, you can see where the racket just goes zing. It comes across like that. And what we're really looking for, I think we see it on the next one here. I'll go in slow-mo here. That's a little bit better, not moving quite so much. And from behind here, boom. All right, now if we go back and look at it here, that's what we want to see at the contact point. The contact point now is over here. It's not over here anymore. And you can see that her arm's extended, which allows her racket to go this way. Otherwise, her arm was really going this way as she hit the ball. And if we back up a little bit and let it go, you'll see it pops it and stops it a little bit more, which is much, much better. I go into the serve here. We'll stop here. We want to make sure, I'll go slow here. She's got a pretty good, looks like a bowing motion, we call that. All right, where she's storing some energy, but the weight is almost going too far forward. Her weight needs to really come down first a little bit more into the ground, and she's kind of walking through that serve. And when she does that, that causes her hips to open up right there. And that's not a good thing, because then she ends up just using her arm right here, again, just to kind of power the ball over the net and use control. What should be happening is her foot here, this right foot, should be kicking back. If you watched a pitcher in baseball, that's what you would see. And if we look at the next one here, I believe she actually does that. All right, let's try it again here. or that foot. You can see now that foot looks great. It kicks back. And all that does is it locks that hip up. And when that hip locks up, that allows her upper body here to come zooming around, which is great. Gives her a lot more acceleration. Let's take a look at contact here. She's going up more. All right, she could be maybe a little bit more. Let's take a look extended there. There should be a straight line from here to here. Not too bad. But the good thing is that foot is coming back, which is allowing your upper body to take off a little. So that's just an example of what we can do during a lesson. And we're able to show you each one of your strokes, and hopefully we can take a look at this again in a month and see if there's any improvement. But the cool thing is you can take a look at it and say, yeah, now when they say that, I can see that. Because a lot of times as a student, we can't feel it, all right, but we can definitely see it. So if you're a visual person, give us a call and we'll hook you up with a little bit of video analysis. And we hopefully will bring your game to the next level.